Last time I saw this crowd, everybody was getting sworn in. And prior to that, somebody was upset over something. I had to involve Mr. Green. If we can, Madam Clerk, would you call the roll?
Mr. Green?
Here.
Mr. Lyda? Dr. Middlebrooks?
Here.
Mr. Murphy?
Here.
Mr. Posey?
Here.
Mr. Shaw?
Here.
Mr. Smith?
Here. If we could at this time, Mr. Murphy would like to conduct our invocation. If you please stand, remain standing for the pledge of allegiance. We handle by Mr. Posey.
Heavenly Father, thank you so much for the grace today you've given us. Thank you as we enter into the holiday season that you keep everyone in Hoover safe. As many people travel for shopping, and many people travel to visit their families. But let us also remember the reason of the day, your son Jesus. These are many blessings, I pray. In Jesus' name, amen.
Salute and pledge. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We've got presentations and reports. This will start off with Mr. Parker, President of the Hoover Softball Association. Are you here this evening? There you are.
I was doing my favorite thing, talking.
Do you have anyone you'd like to bring down with you, sir?
I do want to bring a few folks.
I'll let you call them out.
Thank you for allowing me to spend the next hour and a half presenting what I want to present.
Mr. Rice, you said something about Little Caesars.
I want to bring a couple board members first, and some folks from DSA, Down Syndrome, Alabama. First, I want to bring up Jeff Olives, our Hoover Softball Association treasurer. Jamie Nutter, I'd like to bring her up here. She's our treasurer. I mean, she's our technology and our intern park mom. And I think I saw Peter Harden, our coach and our board attorney. I also want to bring up from Down Syndrome Director Sue Tove, Kathy Olive, the treasurer, and the president, Bob Schilly. Hoover Softball is a local rec softball program here in town, and we have anywhere between 300 and 500 girls participating in rec softball, as well as we host White Lightning Travel Ball organization, made up of about 9 teams, about 110 kids. Quite a few kids playing softball here in town. I became president 6 years ago, and I had 2 big goals. One was to build the girls a practice facility, which we've done, and the other goal was to adopt a charity. We talked about it, and Jeff and I sat down one day and we were speaking about what charity do we want to adopt, and Jeff's sister to his left, Beth, has Down syndrome, and also we have a young lady that participates on our program. Her name is Jessica. She has Down syndrome, and she plays softball. She's wonderful to watch play the game of softball. So we adopted Down syndrome, and what we do a couple times a year is we have fundraisers. Our big fundraiser, we started this 3 years ago, is the end of our fall season, the end of October, our end of season tournament. Our entire park participates in raising money. Teams compete on raising money. The team that wins by raising the most money gets an ice cream party. Kids will raise money for an ice cream party. Parents participate, coaches participate, and the board participates. All the money raised goes to DSA. We have a concession stand. The parents and the kids support it by coming to the concession stand and buying soda and buying food. All that money raised goes to Down syndrome. What else was there? Oh, one of the White Lightning travel ball teams is the White Lightning 02. They are designated by year. That's my team, and we host a travel ball tournament twice a year. All the money raised for those tournaments goes to Down syndrome. This year, this fall, we raised $1,200. I think totally we've been around about $4,000 over the last 3 years. We coach a lot of softball. We teach the kids the game of softball, but we also teach them about life and how to get back to the community. This is our 3rd year, and it's really becoming a big event for our park. This year, at the end of the fall season, I think we raised a little over $5,000, $1,000, something like that. $4,600. In addition, with our $1,200 from our White Lightning team. And Jeff tonight is going to give a check to Down syndrome for this end of season tournament that we just had to Down syndrome. We do the travel ball tournaments twice a year. We do the rec park tournament once a year. We're going to talk about expanding our tournament from the fall and also do a fundraiser for the spring. So the middle of May is our end of season spring tournament, and we're going to probably have another build on what we've already been building on for 3 years. So, Beth, please.
Thank you so much.
Also, one last thing. This is for the mayor, council. Once a year, our park puts together a barbecue luncheon for all the guys from the Parks and Rec Department and the gentlemen that work at our park during the week and all weekend when we're hosting these tournaments. So Friday at lunch at 12 o'clock, you've been invited to a luncheon at our park at 3468 Chapel Lane at Hoover Central for a barbecue lunch Friday. You're invited.
Mr. Parker, you can borrow any portion of our council meetings anytime you want to use it.
Yeah.
One, two, three. I smile. 1, 2, 3.
Next, we have a Veterans Committee report from Chairman Connie. Anyone you want to bring up with you, sir?
Yes, I have 2 ladies from the library who are the mainstays of the Veterans Week, and we're going to hand out the certificate to all the participants that we had, the Cub Scouts, the Boy Scouts, and the CAP from Bessemer.
All right. I'll give you these.
You want to do it over there?
Sure. You want to stand over?
Okay, babe.
This is also shooting, how you want to handle the topic in history.
We'll do a group shot at the end of all the different, the same thing, but each true. Yeah. Thank you.
All right. Good evening, everybody. My name is Alyssa Jewell. I work in the Children's Department of the Hoover Public Library, and we were so happy to have so many young participants in Think of That Week this year. So first we want to recognize the Civil Air Patrol Bessemer Composite Squadron. If you guys want to come up at this time. Oh, there they go. Come on up. We have Connor Campbell, Katie Campbell, Jeremiah Langston, Micah Langston, Rachel Langston, Andrew Moon, Christopher Moon, and William Sawyer. Let's hear it for them.
Connor Campbell. You're taking photos.
I'm gonna put the mayor in the middle, that's okay?
Katie Campbell. You glue these together? Jeremiah Langston. Jeremiah? Micah Langston.
I think they, weren't you just gonna give them all out? Just-
Yeah, if you just want to hand them, then we can
Rachel?
switch them out later.
Yeah. I think just,
Andrew Moon. We start this way, we'll finish and then we'll go somewhere else. Christopher Moon. William Sawyer. That's it. If you wanted to see a professional group handle a flag, come next year and watch these guys.
you wanna come over to general, get stand here in the middle too? Yeah, right there. You come up here? Y'all get ready.
About number.
Wow, back it up. Okay, 1, 2, 3. One more, 1, 2, 3. Y'all want to do-
These are not going to show up in the post office.
Facebook.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. I'm not going to squeeze.
All right, next we have Boy Scout Troop 23 from Discovery United Methodist Church. Was anybody able to make it from that troop tonight? Oh, yay, come on up.
Okay.
All right,
Good.
thank you so much.
And they're all here for you to get to the individuals. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Boy Scouts did an outstanding job also.
1, 2, 3.
All right, from Cub Scout Pack 393, also from Discovery United Methodist Church. We have several members who are here tonight. You guys can go ahead and come up. We have Cameron Bakia, Zane Luani, CJ Howell, Chris Jackmer, Shiv Dev Jackmer, Ahil Jawani, and Surya Raman. Thank you so much.
We'll give these to you. Yes, sir. Hand them out. Okay. Save any place? It was the first time to fold the flag for three of these guys, and they did an outstanding job also.
Let's see, on the end, why don't you come to this side by the mayor? Yeah, right here. All right. On 3. 1, 2, 3. One more. 1, 2, 3.
Oakmont Presbyterian Church. Pack 93, want to come up? We have Dashlyn Barham, Alex Brockman, Kevin Brockman, Jackson Cowden, Miller Creed, Thomas Ford, and Taylor Van.
Thank you, Jamie. There's some future leaders in these groups that folded the flags for Veterans Week. They all did a great job. Smile.
Okay, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Get one more. Yeah.
Is that it?
We have one more very special group to recognize. In addition to the flag folding ceremony, we also do a Thank a Vet poster contest. And we had many entries from several different schools in Hoover, and only 16 winners, and some of them are here tonight. So General County, if you want to give them their certificate, and they also are going to get a gift card. Please hold your applause until the end. I'm going to call all the poster winners' names. If you'll come up and get your certificate, and then stay up here, because you also get to be embarrassed and have your picture taken. That's true. So we have Katya Apedo.
Excuse me a minute. He was a little late coming in with the other pack, so we want to make him pick. He got stuck in traffic. Hey, save the best for last. All right. And 1, 2, 3. And one more. 1, 2, 3.
All right, so we have Miss Katya Apedo, Cademan Dart, Lily Gervanas,
Hold that, please.
Emily Hughes,
She's coming.
here she comes, Ellie Movers, Isabel McCauley, Layla McCauley, Reagan Miller, Niall Settles, and Ayla Steed. Thank you so much for contributing your beautiful artwork to help honor our veterans this year.
Everybody hold their posters.
I'm going to get right next to the lady. Everybody hold their posters up.
Good. Hold it down just a little so I can see your face. All right. Does that look good? Here you go.
Just a quick blurb on what we had going on for Veterans Week. That, of course, we had a special event this year. This is our 12th Veterans Week, and it keeps getting bigger and better every year. We had a special ceremony that went to Aldridge Gardens, and we have a Veterans Memorial there now, Arbor, and it is fantastic. And for those of you who haven't been there, I hope you have a chance to go. And I know each year we'll just get bigger and better. And it's going to be a showpiece for the city of Hoover, so that's fantastic. We also celebrated, we honored 5 gentlemen, World War II guys, Vietnam guys. They were presented the flags as the honorees for the city of Hoover. And of course, one was the 2016, where is he, Mark? Where'd you go? There you go. 2016 Freedom Award winner for the city of Hoover. So anyway, it keeps getting better, and a lot of things going on like that. So first of all, I'd like to thank the mayor and the city council for the support that you guys give the veterans group. And as we all know, things have to change, and the only thing in life that is constant is change. And sadly, Captain Beatty, would you please stand up here? Captain Beatty will be relinquishing the job as executive director, and I will be taking his place. And I've got some big shoes to fill, I can tell you that. And just a few things about this young gentleman here. Of course, he's a Navy pilot, and I'm an Air Force guy, so we have good conversations all the time, and I still think that neither one of us has won the argument yet. So, and it will continue to be that way. So, as I keep telling him, we've got the prettier jets, and we've got better golf courses and officers' quarters. So, and you live on a ship, so what can I say?
It's a cruise ship.
Yeah, cruise ship, yeah, you bet. So, anyway, Captain Beatty is, when I first met him, he's been the executive director for 3 years, and this is a man that impressed me tremendously with his dedication, his leadership, and his professionalism. Certain times we didn't think he was going to be here, but he fooled us all for the meetings or whatever, and he always showed up. And he's always looking to help a veteran in some way. Just like at the tree lighting ceremony the other day, that he came up and asked me for a number or an email address or something like that, because he knew a Vietnam veteran that needed some help. And that's the way Captain Beatty is. He's always trying to help one of our fellow veterans. So, and with that being said, that I didn't want you to get out of here without recognizing you. But, and of course he's not going that far anyway. He'll still be coming to the meetings with us and everything else. But just to show you the appreciation from the Hoover Veterans Committee and the city of Hoover, this is in recognition of loyal and dedicated service, honoring Robert Beatty, Captain, U.S. Navy retired. Thank you for your outstanding service to the citizens of Hoover as a committee member since 2009 and chairman from 2011 2016, December 5th, 2016. Captain Beatty, I salute you.
Poke me in the eye with a sharp. Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure, gentlemen, serving this city.
Thank you, sir. At this point, I'm going to pass the gavel to Pro Tem Green, and I'd like to take a point of personal privilege. And if I could ask Admiral Natter to come down. Yeah, I do.
What's this all mean? I came here to honor Captain Beatty.
I don't know, I heard you may have warrants, so. here when we honored several other people. I think you had taken a little trip maybe to Savannah. And what we would like to do is, one, to give you your picture that hung in the lobby, and so you can remind yourself of what you look like during those years of service.
All that gray hair?
Yes, sir. And we also want to give you this little plaque in recognition of loyal and dedicated service, honoring John T. Natter, Rear Admiral, U.S. Navy, retired. Thank you for your 12 years of outstanding service to the citizens of Hoover as Veterans Committee member and chairman and city council member. This was originally going to be given November 3rd of 2016, but you took off that day. But thank you. I learned a lot from you in sharing time with you on the council, and hope I can still call you from time to time, as I'm sure there may be an issue or two come up. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Please be seated. Thank you very much, Mr. President. This was certainly not anticipated. I came here to honor Captain Beatty, who basically took the Veterans Committee in its infancy and brought it to maturity. And General Pocapani will take it from there. And Captain Beatty, congratulations.
Thank
You very much for what you do for the veterans, for the city of Hoover.
Thank
You're still one of my heroes.
you. were mine, sir.
So, and to the council, thank you very much for what you do, for your support for the veterans. I will certainly look back at the 12 years of service to the city of Hoover, in addition to the 40 years service to our Navy, is one of the highlights of my life. And I'd like to thank you for your continued support, and fair winds and following seas to all of you. Thank you very much.
Go Navy, Admiral.
Beat Army. Some of that up. One, two, three. One, two.
Now if I can get Mr. Green to relinquish that.
I have relinquished
I do have a couple of quick announcements that I want to make. Everyone is aware of the various council committee appointments that were made not too long ago. We do have several others that we're going to be working on. We're working with the mayor's office and our legal staff. One is to repurpose the Stadium Advisory Committee. It's going to become a little more of an oversight panel for the sportsplex. Obviously, we're also going to be working together on a master plan. Not sure how long that's going to take to come to fruition, but we're going to make sure we get it right the first time. And then lastly, there was a lot of conversation back during the summer about neighborhoods and making sure that those that aren't represented with homeowners associations to try to maintain their viability. So after the first year, we'll be standing up a committee on neighborhood viability. There will be a chairman and a vice chair, and then it will end up being a committee of the whole. But I just want to make those announcements now so people can be ready after the first of the year, as we stand these committees up, repurpose the ones that need to be repurposed. With that, I don't know. Okay. We haven't taken care of a little business. We need approval of the minutes. Do I have a motion?
Yes, Mr. President, I move that the minutes of the 11/21/16 regular meeting and the 12/1/16 work session meeting be approved without reading.
Second. We have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Next, we have item 6, motion to approve SFM recommendation of general manager for the Hoover Metropolitan Complex. I know we have a representative from SFM. I know Mr. Rice wants to speak for just a moment. Unfortunately, the candidate or applicant had some rescheduling issues. He was here Thursday and was grilled pretty good, not just by the council, but several members of the audience as well. And so that, I think we need a motion and a second before we get into discussion.
Mr. President, I move that SFM's recommendation of general manager for the Hoover Metropolitan Complex be approved.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Mr. Rice.
Mr. President, members of council, for benefit of the audience, Monty Jones is the final recommended candidate from Sports Facilities Management to become our general manager at the Hoover Metropolitan Complex. He was vetted thoroughly through SFM, one of 125 applicants for that position. He was their finalist. He was brought to a panel of employees and stakeholders here at the city. We also concurred with that recommendation. The agreement between SFM and the city confers final approval on this body, so we recommend that you move in that direction.
Any questions from the council? Any questions from the audience? None? Let's have a roll call.
Mr. Green?
Aye.
Dr. Middlebrooks?
Aye.
Mr. Murphy?
Aye.
Mr. Posey?
Aye.
Mr. Shaw?
Aye.
Mr. Smith?
Aye. You will, Steve, you will let him know that he can come to work.
I'm excited, thank you.
Next, we are going to need to reschedule a couple of meetings. The Monday, January 2nd, 2017 meeting, we're going to need to move to Tuesday, January 3rd at 6 p.m. because of the new year and City Hall will be closed. Secondly, January 16th will be moved to the 17th at 6 p.m. because of the Martin Luther King holiday. Do I have a motion?
Mr. Smith, I do move that the council meeting scheduled for Monday, January 2nd, 2017 be moved to Tuesday, January 3rd, 2017, 6 p.m. and that the council meeting scheduled for Monday, January 16th, 2017 be moved to Tuesday, January 17th at 6 p.m.
Second. I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed nay. The ayes have it. Next, we have a change order for Recreation Center locker room renovations. Mr. Westover.
Yes, sir, Mr. Smith. We have a small change order for the project at the rec center. It's redoing the locker rooms. It's an add of just under $28,000. The majority of which is to replace some deteriorated walls that we found once we pulled off the sheetrock. That was about $18,000 of the add.
So this was undetermined until the work got started.
Yes, sir.
Found it to be done.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any questions from the council?
When's the anticipated date for this to be finished?
They're hoping by the first of the year, early January.
Anything else from the council? Anything from the audience? All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed nay. The ayes have it. Items 9 and 10, resolutions 5509 and 5514 have been requested to be continued to the next regularly scheduled meeting. I know that the mayor has some comments tonight, as does, I believe, Mr. Long. If we could get a motion and a second so we can continue the conversation.
Yes, Mr. President. I move that we continue resolution number 5514-16 and resolution 5509-16 until our next regularly scheduled council meeting on December 19th, 2016.
Second.
We have a motion second. Mr. Ray.
Thank you, Mr. President. You know, after I was elected, I had an opportunity to talk to staff, and particularly Mr. Page. We talked extensively about a project that he was really disappointed in seeing not going forward, and that was the interstate or the interchange project at South Shades Crest Road. So we talked about that, about the impact that it has, and the studies that were done, and how it impacted so many neighborhoods, Ross Bridge, Deer Valley, Russet Woods, South Point, Trace Crossings, and how it also impacted the traffic on Highway 150, the intersection at Highway 150, the intersection at just the entrance and exit ramps at 150 and 459, the intersections at Highway 150 and Stadium Trace. So I asked him what it would take to resurrect that, and he felt like essentially we just had to get behind the project, that it was a very important project. It had the studies had been done, the federal government had approved it, and that we should take the opportunity to move forward. And so I was convinced that we should do that, and I'm convinced after talking to staff that it's a very important project for the western side of town. Each of you knows that traffic is very difficult along Highway 150. You know it's very difficult along South Shades Crest Road as it approaches those intersections, the intersection of 150, not to mention Ross Bridge Parkway and Highway 150. So we want to just to bring this forward to you and to get your support. So we want the citizens of Hoover to be aware of the direction that we're going in, and we feel like it's going to have a great positive impact on traffic on the western part of town. And to go on further to say that the recent redevelopment of Highway 150 and the interchange at 459 that we all are accustomed to was designed with this project going forward as well. And so for that project at 150 and 459 that we all use now as that interchange to have a real long lifespan, we really need to look at adopting this and putting this interchange in place. And so I'll just give you just a brief explanation of what it looks like, and actually Mr. Long can do a much better job of explaining the technical aspects of this, but essentially 459, that takes you into Hoover. Highway 150, this is Highway 150 as you travel down to Busler. You see, this is Ross Bridge Parkway. This is South Shades Crest Road right here, and then this is Brock's Gap. Now, in order for this project to work, there's 31 acres here. During some conversations with U.S. Steel, we found out that they had a contract on that property. And unbeknownst to them, we've been talking about putting this interchange in. So we asked them if they would sell us the property, because essentially without that property, the deal is dead. We go nowhere. There's 31 acres there. We can get it for $2 million. We won't need the entire 31 acres. We don't know exactly what we'll need. We have a good bit of design that will need to go into this project as well. But the bottom line is we need this to start. So, with that said, essentially, this is Ross Bridge Parkway. The road will extend up past Fire Station 6 and come up and connect That's Brock's Gap. Okay? And this is South Shades Crest Road. So South Shades Crest Road will be able to take this and get onto the interstate. Brock's Gap will be able to take it, get on the interstate. Ross Bridge will be able to take it, get on the interstate. And it's going to relieve a great deal of traffic right here at 459 and 150, at Ross Bridge and 150. So we feel like this is a great project and something that we would hope to get your support on. And if you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer what I can. And if there's any technical questions, we'll ask Mr. Long to jump in.
Mr. President, I have a couple. One, we talked about this during the work session. This is all approved, right? All the designs are there. We don't anticipate any major changes. It's not like we're going back to the drawing board on any of this. It's ready to rock from a planning perspective.
We did not start design, but we did have in 2010 an approval from the Federal Highway Administration for the concept of this interchange. And the IGS study, interchange justification study, was approved by the Federal Highway Administration for this location with this configuration.
So what plans would need to be approved still together? What's the high-level process there?
Well, first we have to revisit the IGS study because the traffic counts are now out of date. They were done in 2007. So upgrading or redoing the IGS study. Of course, it's been previously approved, so you think the approval process would be expedited by the Federal Highway Administration. The environmental assessment would have to be done, and then start design before you can do it.
So there would be another traffic study done as part of this?
Yes.
Just one more, Mike. Do we know anything about the land across the street? Obviously, this has to be done as a whole. The whole thing has to be done for the project to be approved. Do we know anything about the land across from 459 that will be acquired?
We do know that we will need to acquire 2 parcels across South Shades Crest Road that will be a part of this project.
Any other questions from the council?
Mr. President, now, I know we got to go through a design, and with that particular project, it wouldn't cause much of a headache with curved traffic patterns until they complete it. But did this project look at any expansion of South Shades Crest Road, at least to the South Shades Crest Elementary School? Or will that be evaluated, or could that be evaluated in that model?
Well, the previous IGS looked primarily at I-459. That was the purpose of the study, to make sure that it did not harm, it would work good with the 459 traffic and not be a detriment.
Right.
There were numerous intersections looked at to see what the impact would be to the adjustment of traffic flow. Willow Lake Drive, where South Shades Crest is located, was not one of those intersections that was looked at. So we don't know. I think that the interchange design would be probably one focus because that's typically coming out of one pot of money.
Right.
And a separate project would need to be looked at South Shades on the improvements to that road.
Well, if we're going to navigate it to it, probably not have to start the construction at the same time as far as that, but at least evaluation of the needs of South Shades Crest along with that project itself. So at least you'll know what you'll need connected to it, or any easement you need on both sides, where you need a 3-lane or where you need a 4-lane, or at least to that bottleneck point of evaluation for South Shades Crest Elementary School. A lot of the congestion occur right there between the mornings in your afternoon times. But of course, you don't want to build such a large road that you're spending money just for an hour or 2 passing, but at least some ideas around that.
Well, if I may, the South Shades is over capacity.
Right.
You can look at the congestion at the school. AM is very difficult for everyone that lives in that area. So that is a worthy project to look at and to improve, either simultaneously or get on it as quick as we can.
Thank you.
Mr. Murphy, if I could, South Shades Crest is a county-maintained road. there are parts in Jefferson and Shelby. I think the part that you're asking about this point is Jefferson County. I did have some conversation with County Commission President Jimmy Stevens during the Christmas tree lighting the other night, and he's indicated that there are other upgrades in that area that they are looking, and it may be possible that we could get some work done on the Jefferson County portion. We just need to follow up through the proper channels.
Okay.
So it could be very possible that it could occur.
Thank you.
Mr. President,
Yes, sir.
just a point of clarification, we talked about this work session, for the public. This is going to be paid for out of capital funds, and a lot of this already exists because we talked about this project before, is that correct?
Well, the funding, and I hope I answered your question, but typically on a large project like this, we go after federal funding, and it's typically an 80-20 split on that. So that's what we try to do for this one. As far as it being in our present budget right now, I don't think it is.
Right, I'm talking about the purchase of the property would be coming from capital funds, out of our capital funds we have now.
Yes.
Anything else from the council? Any questions from the audience?
I have a comment.
Yes, sir.
Again, I didn't know this was coming up. I live in the Woodlands, all the way west, and it takes me an hour to get from my house to 150 in the morning. I really appreciate if you guys would get me to work quicker in the morning and pass this project. That'd be awesome. I'd leave my house off of Cherokee Beach Campground, go through South Shades Crest. I'd probably eat like 5 sandwiches in the meantime. And going home. I appreciate it. Thanks. It's long call for.
We'll get you down to 2 sandwiches.
Sir?
We'll get you down to 2 sandwiches.
I don't want to eat any. I just want to drive.
Unfortunately, if this should get to move forward, we're going to be working with other people's, where we're using a stopwatch, they use calendars. So,
As long as it gets going, that's all right with me. This is great. Thank you. Sorry, but wow, this is a great idea.
Anything else from the audience? No? All right, we have a motion and a second to continue this item to the next regularly scheduled meeting. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed nay. The ayes have it. Next we have item 11, resolution 5510-16.
This resolution rejects all bids received for the wrecker service and storage bid number 24-16.
All right, this is, as you said, this is a motion to reject. So those voting aye will be voting to reject these bids. Do I have a motion and a second?
Motion, yes, Mr. President, motion to approve resolution number 5510-16.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any questions from the council? Any questions from the council? Any questions from the audience? Yes, ma'am. If you come down and give us your name and address, please.
Good evening, my name is Perry Carroll. I'm here on behalf of Action Towing and Hoover Towing. As a little personal note, I'll tell you my kindergarten field trip with Miss Dott's kindergarten was to this very location when that was considered. We were going out to the country to see cows in the old A-frame house that was here. So it's always good to be back. I appreciate all your service and yours too, Mayor.
We also need your address, please.
P.O. Box 530, 543, Birmingham 35253.
It's a little place to live. Yes, ma'am.
And if I may request that my comments be made part of the agenda minutes.
They are part of the minutes. If you have any handouts to go with it, they can be attached as well.
Thank you. On behalf of Hoover Towing and Action Towing, we're here tonight concerning the rejection of the sealed bids previously submitted. My clients both submitted bids which materially complied with all bid specifications. Our concern is that rejecting the bids at this point in the process when they have been unsealed compromises the integrity of the sealed bid process. So we'd like some discussion and comment on those matters.
Mr. Powell?
Yes, sir. Is this on? How's that? Is that better? We did solicit bids for the record towing services. They were open back in October. We did have 3 bids. Action and Hoover Towing, which are related entities, did submit 2 of those 3 bids, and Proto submitted the other bid. After performing our due diligence, reviewing those proposals, our findings were that none of the bids submitted met specifications, so that's why we're asking you to reject them. I would disagree that their submittals complied with the bid specifications. There were a number of areas in which this company, or these 2 companies, did not meet bid specifications. In particular, their storage lot was approximately 16,000 square feet. We were asking for 100,000. They did not have an interior bay that was secure, that would provide an area for our police department to maintain a chain of evidence that will allow them to secure that the vehicles within that particular area to maintain a chain of evidence when required to do so. They did not meet the requirements for the equipment that they were required to have to operate the services in Hoover. In particular, they did not have 2 35-ton wreckers when we visited their site. So we did go out to each site. We did speak with the principals at each location, and the other company that submitted a bid, we found that they had an issue with their bid submittal as well, and that they provided some caveats to the pricing with their bid proposal. So we feel compelled to reject the bids, all of the bids at this point in time, because none of them met the specifications. And what we intend to do with your approval is to modify the specifications and rebid the project and come back to you at a future date with a proposal to award the contract.
Thank you, sir.
If I may just ask a question, I may have not taken my notes correctly. I thought I understood you to say that there were 4 ways in which my clients did not meet the bid specifications, but I only wrote down 3: storage lot, interior bay, and the 35-ton wreckers. Did I miss one?
I think those may have been the only 3 that I mentioned.
Okay, I'm sorry. I understood you to say that there were 4. I want to make sure I didn't miss one.
No, I don't believe I mentioned 4.
Okay.
Did I mention another one? No.
Okay. If I may respond to that, to the council, my client actually does have a storage lot which is in compliance.
They have a storage lot, or they have access to a storage lot?
They have a lease and option to purchase.
Pending lease or signed lease?
Do you have a signed lease with you, Jeff? I can bring you a signed lease.
I'm sorry?
I can bring you a signed
Did you
lease.
say pending or?
Pending lease.
Pending.
The lease is contingent on being awarded the contract, obviously. I have, and I can just pass it down to you. That is an aerial view of the location. You will see the large lot next to the whiteout is the lot that they have the lease pending award of the bid, which complies with the storage lot specifications. With regard to the 2 35-ton wreckers, they do have 2 35-ton wreckers. They were going to bring them up here tonight. The parking's a little tight.
Have
So
they acquired them since the inspection date?
they have acquired them recently. I don't know if they were on site the day they came for the inspection.
So did they own them at the time the bids were opened?
The time the bids were opened,
Yes.
there was agreement to purchase, but the financing had not been completed
So
at
you
that time.
did not yet open, you did not own them at the time the bids were open?
Titles were not transferred, no.
Okay.
So deposits were made on the bid home at that time.
Thank you.
With regard to the interior storage room, obviously couldn't bring the storage room with us, so we brought photographs. There is heated, secure interior storage room suitable for investigation. It's lock-proof. It is big enough for 2 vehicles as specified with the lifts, and I'll circulate photographs of that room.
Is that on the same site as yours, as the storage lot? Is that on a separate site?
No, sir, it's the same site.
And what's the address of that site?
What's the physical address?
2075 Valleydale Terrace.
I'm sorry?
Right.
2075 Valleydale Terrace, our main headquarters.
It's right across the street from the other Hoover, just for the benefit of the other counselors, the other Hoover Center down on Valleydale, right across the street behind the grocery store.
Anything else?
The current contract for towing and record services, with the contract extensions, all extensions, is now expired. We would respectfully request, since my clients do meet all the specifications of the bid, and, you know, is required for the safety of the people that live and travel to the city of Hoover, that the current towing calls be at least sent out on a rotating alternate basis, including my client's towing company.
I believe that would end up needing to be a legal matter that you can address with the city attorney at a time after tonight.
Council, may I say something?
Come on down, XO. I'm sure everybody want to hear you. Everybody want to take the microphone from Ben.
Well,
I was wondering if you were here tonight.
I am when we said that. There's another item they did not meet.
Yes, sir.
7 locations outside the city limit.
And the bid asked for
That is correct, yes, sir.
located inside the city.
Part of our specification is they have to be within the city limit, 4 miles from the city, from city hall. And at the time we visited the sites, they have none of these items or specification in place.
Thank you, sir.
None.
Gentlemen, if I could address the issue about the site being inside the city limits of the city of Hoover. This site is within 4 miles of the municipal center. And of course, like I said, it's across the street from the other Hoover municipal facility. There is no site in the city limits of Hoover that is properly zoned that meets the square foot specifications.
Council have any questions?
In the scope of work that went out, construction bidders are going out. Did it have any information in there regarding owner had to have meet certain specifications at the time or acquire it at a later date?
I believe this is a question for staff, please.
The bid specifications are silent to that. It's common practice for us to award a bid only if those specifications are met at the time of the bid opening. There was no provision in there that said that you have 6 weeks to meet the specifications or 6 months. It's obviously the time that the bid is awarded is when we want to expect the services to be performed. So there were no provisions in that regard.
You're correct, the bid was silent as to when those specifications had to be complied with. I'll make this point as well, if I may.
the service provider that's currently has the exclusive tow and wrecking contract with the city of Hoover and has since I think 1989, does not meet those bid specifications in that they do not have 100,000 square feet in the city of Hoover for their facility either.
I guess the best way for me to respond is that the motion before us and the decision before this body is that we are going to reject the bid with anticipation that it's going to be rebid, which is going to give your client another bite of the apple. So I would think that would be a good thing, yes?
Well, I guess time will tell.
I can't predict what will come out, but obviously we are going to regard the position of the mayor's staff as part of our decision-making at that time, just as the request has been made to reject all bids and let them rewrite the contract so we can start the process again. Okay?
Thank you very much.
Anyone else?
Mr. President, one question. Are we going to add that provision in future bids, the time frame at the time of inspection? Or?
We will, we'll clarify that. Never have really found the need to have to do that before, but we'll be certainly happy to do that.
I'm assuming that she is representing you. If you have anything new and different, please come down and give us your name and address.
My name's Jeff Dean. My address is 2075 Valleydale Terrace, Birmingham, Alabama. I'm the owner of Action Tower. My question is, if the contract is expired and neither of the companies are meeting the qualifications, who's to say why does one company have the right to tow versus another company have the right to tow? With the contract already expired, neither of the companies meet qualifications, and the rules are not even possible to meet because of the property situation, saying that you have to be within 4 miles of the city. I've talked with the zoning commission, I've talked with River Chase Development Committee. There is nowhere in River Chase that they would zone properly for a towing company.
I guess that, as I mentioned before, this gives you another opportunity to have conversation with Mr. Powell to talk out these issues. Other than that, then it would land in the lap of the city attorney and his staff. So it might be that you want to have a conversation with him at a later date prior to the bid.
And if this takes years and months and years,
It can't take any more than 4 years because I'm going home.
I understand that. The meantime, I've spent in the neighborhood of $480,000 to comply with the rules of this.
Spent or promised to spend?
Spent.
Yeah.
I have a 35-ton record I'm paying for, a 60-ton record I'm paying for, additional property I'm paying for, and
I thought you had indicated additional property was based on whether or not you obtained a bid.
the complete additional. I've already extended one section, but I can't purchase the rest of it.
I apologize for my, I have an old fire department saying that it wouldn't be appropriate.
And at the same, I think if you have a contract with a bid amount, you should abide by that bid amount. And that's not happening right now. The citizens are paying more than the bid
According
amount.
to the mayor's staff, no one met the specifications, and because of that, we have before us an opportunity to reject all bids so that we start over again. Like I mentioned to the attorney, it gives you another opportunity.
Any kind of time frame, any opportunity to maybe participate in the police department?
This body does not deal with that. If you want, you can talk to Mr. Powell after this meeting is over.
Could we ask for a motion to participate in the police department's work while this is being reviewed?
That is not before us.
All right.
If I may, regarding that last question, I don't think the bid law allows us to discuss the specifications with potential bidders prior to the solicitation of the bids.
I think mainly he was just wondering how long before the bids may be let.
Right, and I would, I'm guessing within a matter of a few weeks. With this being the holiday season, we hope to have the specifications revised and updated within a couple of 3 weeks, and we'll solicit bids shortly thereafter.
So we don't have to worry about the years that we brought up and possibly having to wait.
No, sir, I think you mentioned earlier that we use a stopwatch where others use calendar. I think that's our goal here too.
Yes, sir. Thank you. All right, any other questions from the audience? No? We have a motion and a second. I'm sorry. Yes, sir, come on down and give us your name and address, please. I'm sorry, I didn't see your hand.
It's no problem. My name is Jack Husted. I'm at 4795 Highway 11 in Pelham. I think what kind of fell through the cracks a little bit was the question about, even though it may only take weeks, in the meantime, right now, starting tomorrow, since there's no contract, and since neither party is meeting the specifications, does the current provider, Proto, continue to operate exclusively, or can Action be a part of it and split now? Until this process plays out, because as it is now, from what I understand, it would be exclusive, even though there's no contract. The exclusivity would carry on until this thing plays out, and I think Action is looking to start now, since they've already made the investments, already spent a lot of money,
Yes, sir.
and have already.
As a resident of Pelham, how are you involved with this process?
I'm a good friend of Jeff Dean's, and I support the company.
Okay, very good. As I said before, this is a matter that, at this point, would go to legal counsel. It's not anything that this body will decide.
I'm assuming if legal counsel would be okay with it, would agree with it, that the gentleman over there would not mind both parties.
I would think that it would be up to them or their counsel to contact the city attorney. I'm sure he would be glad to exchange contact information after this meeting.
Okay, and my question is, assuming the city attorney is okay with it, and the gentleman that has spoken over here before is okay with it, that your body doesn't have a problem with a joint?
That issue is not before the council at this time.
Okay, so you don't have a position on it. You're not banning that from happening?
We're not taking a position as this resolution, or as this request has been made of the council.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Everybody needs to be clear.
No, I would just add to our dialogue that we have verbally extended the agreement with Proto right now, so it's not that we're not operating under an agreement with them. And I would also say that I don't think that we have, because the bid specifications were soliciting proposals for a future contract. We didn't go back and look at what was being done now under the current contract. We're looking forward at whether the companies and what they propose meet the specifications or not. So
I understand. I think this is how the council does. Ma'am, we're not going to be litigating this tonight. We are going to vote. I'm going to call for the vote. If you have any questions of the mayor or legal staff, how it can be taken up after the meeting.
I'm not interested in litigating, but when the gentleman stands up and says we're operating under a verbal agreement, I think that it's important for the council to understand that that is an illegal agreement that was not put out for bid as per the state bid laws.
Thank you. I'm gonna call for the question. We have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Moving on to item 12, Mr. Attorney.
This resolution authorizes the mayor to execute a second amendment to the government entity tower license agreement between Crown Castle GT Company, LLC, and the city of Hoover regarding public safety antennas at the municipal site adjacent to the Hoover Senior Center. This amendment updates information within the lease agreement in preparation for a radio systems upgrade and has no effect on the city's budget and or expenses.
And this also includes 5512 for the tower located behind the Grove Shopping Center.
Yes, that's a separate resolution.
All right, we're going to vote these together. If we could have a motion in a second.
Sure, Mr. President, I move for approval of resolution number 5511-16 and resolution number 5512-16.
Second.
We have motions and seconds. Any questions from the council? Any from the audience? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Moving to item 13, 5513-16, Mr. Attorney.
Yes, this resolution approves the issuance of revenue bonds by the Special Care Facilities Financing Authority of Pell City to provide for financing for the benefit of Nolan Health Services, Inc. for any bond-financed facilities that are or will be located in the city of Hoover. Currently, the bond-financed facilities located in the city of Hoover are at Nolan Health Services, Inc.'s corporate office located at 600 Corporate Parkway, Hoover. Approximately $721,219 of bonds will be spent within the city of Hoover.
Thank you, sir. And before we have any conversation, can we get a motion in a second?
Mr. President, I move for approval of resolution number 5513-16.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Do we have a representative here tonight?
Yes, I'm here,
All
sir.
right, sir. We'll just be available. Any questions from the council?
Just one comment I have, firstly, thank you for Nolan Services. They've been here, Vickers been here since 2006, 75 employees, so thank you for doing business in the city.
Any other questions from the council? Anyone from the audience? Singers, I see you getting up, no?
Make a move for him.
Oh, okay. All right. Hoover is one of several municipal entities around Alabama that are providing a similar vote. This does not create any obligation on the city of Hoover. This is just one of the processes meeting, allowing them to go to the bond market using Pell City as the issuer. So with that, all in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Mr. Posey, your recommendation on payment of bills?
Yes, sir, in Mr. Lyon's absence, I review the bills and recommend they be paid in order.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Any comments or questions from the council?
Yes, Mr. President.
Oh.
No, you and I may have the same thing.
I promise.
Go ahead.
Mr. Green and I attended the Bluff Park Christmas parade, the first one this year, and Mr. Sweeney's in the back, and I talked to Mr. Redding today, and I just want to congratulate both of you on a wonderfully organized event. There were probably, 300, 400 people there at least. Down where I was down by the two shopping centers, and everyone had a great time, and there were food trucks there with hot chocolate to keep everybody warm, and it was a great event. I look forward to you doing it again next year.
Stole my thunder.
I too have heard wonderful things about it, Mr. Sweeney. I'm sure next year will be even bigger and better. I wish I could have been there, but I was having to work that day. I'll try to make sure next year I don't have that same thing happen. Any other questions or comments from the council? Madam Murphy?
One quick question, comment, I want to acknowledge a few school board members in the back, Craig Kelly, and President of the school board, Stephen Presley. I bring that up because after this year gets out of here, we'll be looking at the school board as Mr. Presley returns in.
Now, I would personally ask Mr. Presley to consider being appointed again. He has done a fantastic job. I've served with him myself. Things that he have done, the school system leadership he has last year has been great, and I want to put that out there. But in the event that he prays about it and it's not the direction he wants to move into, I will be looking to revamp the way we deliver that process, make it a little bit more detailed, and bring it out to the council so we can have some discussion about it. Currently, it's a 15-minute interview process for a 5-year position, so it needs to be looked at. So thank you so much for your time.
Yes, I
Again,
would like
please
to-
consider Mr. Presley certainly.
And I would like to thank Mr. Murphy. I had also requested, the current process has been in place for a very long time and certainly needs some updating. As to Mr. Presley, I've had conversation with him in which he thinks about it long and hard, but I've also been told that he faces great bodily harm if he asks to be appointed. So I'm assuming all goes well, and maybe the school resource officers can assist you in what possible. I would also like to recognize Mr. Joe Reeves, recent past member of this council, and would like to thank him for his attendance. Any other comments from the council? Anything from the audience? Call.
Dan Fulton, 1440 Alford Avenue. The Board of Education meeting is coming up this Monday, the 12th. I've been serving on the advisory committee council, and the board members can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe the advisory members will be reporting next Tuesday, the 13th, at Metropolitan Church of God. I believe that's at 6 o'clock, and that's open to the public. And various committees of this advisory council will be giving their reports. I've served on the budget and finance, and very impressed. If I had to just give one statement, I think Dr. Murphy has them on a slim, fast diet, and you can't continue that, forever. So it's all right for a short time, but you really need to get a balanced diet, and that involves some revenue.
Yes, sir.
So, but anyway, I just wanted to invite everyone to come to that, of course, the board meeting Monday, but especially this advisory council reports. The various committees will report. I think each will report about 5 or 6 minutes, and then Dr. Murphy will give a report. And I'm not sure she will actually have her strategic plan ready, but I think the preliminary shape of that should be ready for that meeting. Is that correct, Mr. President? Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Anyone else? Any other comment? Mr. Singer? I will be disappointed.
Arnold Singer, 613 Riverhaven Place. Short and sweet. On Monday, December 12th, the Friends of Hoover will be honoring Dan Fulton as Volunteer of the Year. It's going to be at Capers Cafe at Artists on the Bluff. And then the following month, on Monday, January 23rd, the Friends of Hoover will be hosting Mayor Bocado with his State of the City. But in addition to that, there will be tours of the Artists on the Bluff building, plus the Hoover Historical Society's Folklore Center, which is a log cabin. So, 2 exciting events. And by the way, it's going to be a roast and toast of Dan. So come with your best sides. Thank you.
And the time again, Mr. Fuller?
11 o'clock, 11 a.m.
All right. Anything else from the audience? No? We stand adjourned.